All right, welcome to the Getting Your Gratitude Grant webinar. I'm Chelsea Dennis, and I am a program assistant here at the Elks National Foundation. I work with Colleen Musinski, as well as Jocelyn Moya in the Community Investments Program Office. We're always here to help you, and we love to hear from you all. So if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to contact us. Our information will be at the end of this presentation. So let's get started. So let's do a brief overview of the grant opportunities we offer here in the SIP program. So the one that we'll be talking about today is the Gratitude Grant. These are $2,000 grants that are given to lodges that meet the per capita goal. So this is our way of saying thank you to lodges who have reached the $4.65 per member giving goal. If you're a lodge that happens to have 15% of members donate at least $10 or more to the ENF in the 2015-16 year, you will qualify for a bonus of $500 that is automatically tacked on to the grant when you apply. So if you qualify, you will be able to request up to $2,500. So gratitude grants are pretty flexible and are for use in local charitable activities that serve the community. Another grant that we also have is the Beacon Grant. So those are $2,000 and are available to every lodge. You do not have to meet the GER's per member giving goal. It's for an ongoing charitable Elks-driven project. Then it has to be new for first-time lodges that are applying. So unlike the Gratitude Grant, it cannot be a donation of funds or supplies. It must have an active component to it. Likewise, we have our Promise Grants. Those as well cannot be used for funds or supplies. It has to be an active Elks project. And these are a little bit more than the Gratitude or Beacon Grant. They're $2,500 and they're available first come, first served to the first 500 lodges that apply with the qualifying Elks-led project. So youth involved project. So the Promise Grant is an opportunity for the lodge to serve as role models to youth in need. And hopefully in the future, these children would grow up to want to be members of the order. Next, there are Freedom Grants. Those are $2,000, and we received good news from the board this year. Instead of 180, we will be able to grant 200 lodges of Freedom Grants. So Freedom Grants are to be used for veterans-focused projects that focus on the best ways to serve our veterans and active duty military members. So it's a highly competitive process, and to increase your chances of being approved, we highly encourage having meaningful elk involvement. And lastly, our biggest grant is the Impact Grants. It's from $2,500 to $10,000. It must be an Elks-run service project in the community. It's our most competitive. It cannot be used as a large donation of funds or supplies, and all lodges are welcome to apply for this. We do encourage lodges who intend to apply for the first time or who are unsuccessful to contact us, and we can help you in structuring your application. But again, it's a very competitive process, so keep that in mind. So here are some grant basics that I want to cover that covers all of our grants. These are rules that we have for each and every one of them. So the IRS defines charitable in the following categories, such as advancing education, but not through scholarships, relieving the poor, lessening the burdens of government, combating juvenile delinquency, eliminating prejudice and discrimination, lessening neighborhood tension. So we also abide by these rules as well. So please keep that in mind when you're thinking of a project, that how it would fit into these broad categories that the IRS has defined. In addition to the IRS guidelines, the ENF has its own set of guidelines that we use to evaluate grant applications. So over the years, the SIP program was decided upon to expand the lodge's reach in the community. So SIP grants aren't to be used as funds to continue a program that the lodge is already doing, but to do other sustainable charitable projects in the community. So with that being said, things like fundraisers, youth awards nights, state major projects, poster or essay contests do not qualify for grant funds. So the guidelines that we'll discuss right now are specific to the gratitude grant. So when we say local, we mean that a project that will occur within the lodge's service area. So regional and state projects don't qualify. If the lodge intends to work with veterans, please keep in mind there are 5 areas of increased need that we would like for lodges to focus on. Working with the VA, the Elks Veteran Service Commission found out that these are the areas where veterans need the most help. So areas such as employment, homelessness and housing, military families, health, and educational support. Also, I just want to reiterate that the deadline for the gratitude grant is May 31st, 2017 at 11:59 Central Standard Time. Unfortunately, we cannot take any exception. So please have it in before that time. If you have it in before that time, if we have any additional questions, you'll have time to provide that additional information. So I also want to note that grants have to be used between when the lodge applies and July 31st, 2017. So what that means is we don't reimburse projects that the lodge has already run. So the reason we do that is to ensure that the project that the lodge has applied for actually qualifies, and we don't want the lodge to invest money in something only to find out later that that project doesn't qualify. So to prevent that from even happening, apply first, we will respond, and we'll work with you until the application can be approved. So the Secretary has the ability to apply for the gratitude grant or any of our SIP grants. However, if the Secretary would like to, they can always appoint a grants coordinator. So the grants coordinator would be able to access the online grants application through the ENF website using their elks.org username and password. So this person would be someone who is computer savvy and would be involved in the grant from start to finish. So luckily, lodges can have more than one person be the grants coordinator at any point in time. As soon as that person is appointed, through CLMS 2, they are immediately instated and can work on the grant application. If you need any step-by-step instructions on how to set that up in CLMS 2, please visit enf.elks.org/grants coordinator, or you can call us and we will walk you through the steps. So the online application. So as we said, the gratitude grant is $2,000 available to lodges that meet the GER's per member giving goal. If you have met the $4.65 per giving goal, you already have access to the application. Again, the deadline is May 31st, 2017 at 11:59. And for secretaries that will be applying, you can apply through CLMS. And for grant coordinators, you must be appointed online by the secretary first before you can apply. So access is through grant web pages. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So a lot of times when people call, they ask, did we receive the bonus? So I'm going to walk you through the steps of figuring out whether the lodge qualifies and if you receive the bonus. So again, the 15% of members that give $10 or more to the ENF in the 2015-16 year will receive a $500 bonus when applying for the gratitude grant. So the way to find out if the lodge is eligible for the bonus, you can visit our SIP participation report. So for example, we have Bloomington, Illinois, Lodge 281. So they are in compliance and they're gratitude eligible. So if you have a red yes in bold lettering, that means you qualify for the $500 bonus. So another example is Danville, Illinois, Lodge 332. So the lodge is not in compliance, yet is eligible for a $500 bonus. So if you happen to have a no in that in compliance column, that probably means that the lodge is missing a final report form or receipts from a previous grant year. Please call us and we can work with you to get the lodge back in compliance. We would like to get you all in compliance a month in advance of the deadline. We wouldn't want this to hinder the lodge from applying for grants. Another way to check eligibility or just to check your total donations is to visit the current year Lodge per member donations. So you can visit elks.org/ENF/ per capita standings, and you'll be able to find out if the Lodge has met their per member giving goal. So for example, Chicago North Shore, Illinois ranks number 1 in the state for total donations. So their per member giving was $42.32, way above the $4.65 to qualify for the gratitude grant. So we know that they are able to apply for a grant at this time. So one of the benefits of the gratitude grant is that it's flexible. You can use it to purchase supplies, you can use it to donate to another organization, or you can use it for an active elk project, or you can split it for multiple projects. However, we do want to stress that even though gratitude grants can be used for donations, elk involvement is so much better, and this for a number of reasons. We want to increase visibility in the community, to let people know what the Elks are doing to help. 2, it builds camaraderie between Elks members when they're able to get together and to work on a cause higher than self. 3, is great for health. Research shows that volunteering improves the health outcomes of people. So there are many, many reasons why you should seek out an active project. So in this column, we have inactive projects. And when lodges tend to just simply donate, it's good for the organization, but not necessarily for the Elks. So for example, say a lodge donates to the food bank. So the only people that would see that would be the treasurer or and the development manager. So no one really knows that this has happened. However, if you partner with a soup kitchen and serve the monthly meals to families in need, those families in need directly see the work that the Elks are doing. And other people in the community get a chance to see of the good works. And as you spread that, it increases visibility of the lodge, and makes it attractive for people who are looking for a place to volunteer with, who are looking to be active in the community. So as we've always said, active involvement is so much better. Oh, let me go back. Just before I forget, in the event that you do decide to simply make a donation, I always send a follow-up email requesting active elk involvement. However, if the lodge decides not to do that, that's fine as well. So let's go over an actual application from Hillsboro, Oregon, Lodge number 1862. And as we go through, we'll talk about the strengths of this project and how to score an approval on the first round. So first things first is to enter your contact information and to make sure to double check your email address. So email is our primary form of communication. So a lot of times we may receive bounce backs because a letter was typed in incorrectly. So please double check and make sure it's correct. Also, it's important to assign a secondary contact with an email address, just so that 2 people can know what's going on. For instance, if the lodge has not turned in the final report form and is in need of receipts, the 2 of you can connect and try to close out that information in a timely manner. Sometimes the primary contact may get sick, or any other life circumstances may happen. So it's always good to have that second person that can see the project through as well. So you don't want to just rely on one person. Another thing I want to note is that for the meeting date in the bottom left corner, make sure to discuss the project with the lodge at a lodge meeting, so everyone's on one accord regarding what project will be applied for and completed during the grant year. So let's look at the first part. So this part is where you talk about what charitable project the lodge will be doing. So here, Hillsboro Elks decided that they would work with seriously ill children in local children's medical centers. So they provide decorations to children due to health reasons who must spend extended time at the local hospital. So some tips for when you're doing this section is to tell us why your event is charitable. So you want to focus on charity and service. Although promotion is great, it's not the purpose of the grant. So focus on what the lodge intends to do with the grant funds only. Sometimes a lot of lodges may talk about all the things that they've done in the year to be charitable in the community, but not necessarily the project in hand. All we would like to hear about is the project the lodge will be doing with this particular grant. And the second question for the grant description section is telling us about your community and how the project the lodge will be conducting will be in, an important community need. So it's clear that Hillsborough has several hospitals in the area that takes care of seriously ill children. So they list them off: Randall's, Dornbecher's, Portland Shriners. So they talk about the extended periods of time that children have to be there, and that lack of opportunity to play, to have fun, and that the lodge would like to provide this opportunity for kids despite their conditions. So this focuses on how it serves the community and a local need, and it includes in this case, it doesn't really include any socioeconomic makeup of the community because it talks about sick children, and that's the need that they're meeting. However, if you're dealing with a project that deals with poverty specifically, it's important that you kind of give us some context into the socioeconomic makeup of the community. And the third question in the grant description section is about the opportunity for Elks to volunteer and to participate in a charitable project. So, as we've said, active Elk involvement is always best for the lodge. So here they give us 4 ways in how the lodge will be active. So they'll shop for the items to make the baskets. They have a stitching group that comes together to create blankets and pillowcases and other things for the baskets. They also will hold an assembly line so members of the lodge can come out and volunteer. And lastly, if the hospital allows, they'll even deliver the baskets to each child. So there are multiple touch points there. So building camaraderie with other Elks members, and even letting the community see the work that the Elks is doing by delivering those baskets. So keep that in mind when thinking of ways to get Elks involved, how you will do that. And lastly, what does the lodge expect to accomplish with this project, and how will the lodge measure success? So when you're thinking about that, think about questions like, what's the end purpose of this project? What would success look like? How will we consider it success? Why are we spending our money on this? Why are we committing to this community need? So a lot of times when lodges answer this question, they may say, oh, we'll know that this project is working because of the smiles on faces and thank yous that we get and the tears of joy. And all of those things are great. Those are good things to know, but we want to know how you're going to quantitatively measure success. So things like increase attendance or improve grades or the increase in number of applications submitted for job seekers, or the decrease in hunger in children over the weekend. So in X number of children over the weekend. These are measurable ways to gauge the success of your project. So keep that in mind. Also, a point that I didn't highlight is the anticipated date project completion, which is right under that. So here they intend to complete their project by July 6th. I want you to keep in mind that our projects need to be completed by July 31st. So the next section is the budget. So I do want to point this out. This was finalized last year. We did have a little wiggle room for lodges as we transitioned to this rule, but it is permanent now. So up to 10% of your lodge's grant budget can be allocated to administration. So things like t-shirts, paid advertisements, and non-essential merchandise can only be 10% of the grant funds. And we put this in place to ensure that the majority of funds were used on the program and not necessarily administrative costs. So here the Hillsborough Elks decided to purchase supplies for the basket. So you can just itemize your expected expenses. We don't need something to be as specific as $4.63, but to give some rough estimates of how much you expect to purchase. Also, please keep in mind when you're typing in the amounts to not add a dollar sign because it will not allow you to submit the application. So numbers only. Also, the budget should show us that you have plans for the funds and have considered how best to use them. So just simply writing supplies does not cut it. So right here, instead of writing supplies, I have twin sheets, blankets, bath towels, air train supplies, pillows. They've really broken it down to let us see what they intend to purchase. Also, the budget should match up with the application and reflect that grant funds are needed to hold this event. So sometimes a lodge may have a project, but then the budget is for things that look totally unrelated. So make sure you focus on fundamental expenses. I also want to point out that for the total grant request, you must apply at least up to $2,000 or $2,500 if you qualify for the bonus. This is because if you don't, you will only receive the amount in the lesser amount in the check. So we don't cut multiple checks. So if you put $1,600, then you don't receive that, and you can't come back and apply for the remaining $400. So make sure that you put in the $2,000. Also, the total cost of the event, like here, for example, is $3,100. So that automatically calculates. So you don't need to touch that area. So don't worry about that. That will handle itself. And lastly, let's look at the budget narrative. So you would use this space to describe in more detail what grant funds would be used for. So sometimes items are listed in the budget, but it's unclear how it connects to the project or what exactly will be purchased. So this is your opportunity to just give us a little bit more information. So Hillsborough talked a little bit more about the type of items they'll be purchasing for the room. So they'll buy Star Wars, Frozen, and My Little Pony themed materials. And for teens, for example, they buy things like batteries for iPads, and younger children will get coloring books and things like of that nature. So we do like that they gave us a little bit more information about what the project will look like. So when you are approved for a grant, make sure to spread the word. Here are some tips to do so. So before the event, tell everybody you know. Use your lodge newsletter, Facebook, Twitter, community bulletin board, or an email list to recruit volunteers. And you want to take photos. We love photos. It's our way of showing the world the good work that Elks are doing out in the community. We use them a lot for our different publications, in the Elks magazine, on social media, everywhere. So send us pictures. Also, get feedback. Ask your volunteers how they think it went. Talk to the people being served and follow up with your project partners if you have any. And write down good quotes. We use that information that you provide in the final report form to write Elks in Action articles and different materials for our publications. So if you have good quotes, include them, and you might see it in your next Elks magazine. After the event, you can also use our news release generator to create a professional sounding news release. And if you need any of these materials and want more information on how to market, you can find it on enf.elks.org/SIP resources. As we get ready to end our presentation, I just wanted to show you a few lodges who are doing some great projects in the community using a gratitude grant and have sent in pictures. So this is another great reason to send in those pictures, because you might end up in a PowerPoint like they have. So we have, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Lodge number 46, who uses a gratitude grant to conduct a summer food drive. So typically during the summer months, food pantries are very low on foodstuffs because they usually get the bulk of their supplies during the holidays. So Milwaukee saw that gap, filled that need, and is doing great work in the community. Also, look at Bloomington, Illinois, Lodge number 281. I just love this picture. They seem so engaged in closing those manila envelopes, and it's a great way to connect with youth. So Heartland Head Start holds a back to school event, and the lodge led that and provided backpacks and school supplies to 250 students. The lodge also partnered with the Normal Lions, so they offered eye exams, as well as the fire and police department, who distributed safety information. So if you choose to, go out and partner with other organizations to expand your impact. And lastly, we have Santa Cruz, California, Lodge number 824. If you have members who have special talents, put them to work. In this case, they use the skills of the members to make some safety updates and repairs to the Sienna House, a maternity home for new and expecting mothers. And with that, that's it. I hope we've given you some great ideas on how to do your gratitude grant projects. At this point, I expect to see about 50 to 70 applications per week, and I'm really excited to review some gratitude grants. So send them in as soon as possible. If you have questions, you need some help, contact me, and we'll help you get that project in tip-top shape. If you want to look at our resources, go to elks.org/CIP. Our phone number, 773-755-4730, and our email is lodgegrants@elks.org. I'm looking forward to speaking with you. Have a good day.